We're going to use references from both our render trade this summer. Our original upload on render was on the 30th of May. We said it's not going to break out. In fact, it's a short right now. And our Rune trade to help us grasp what's going on the Kaspa chart right now. Investigate what the Rune token is. Zooming out at the big picture, we can take this snapshot from Data Dash. This shows that Greyscale is actually dumping a lot of their Bitcoin because their fees are the highest on the market. So they've got to unload some of their assets under management. I saw this pop up on my personal news feed. It shows me this article saying that Litecoin is super bullish, and I immediately get suspect, start researching who the #1 strategic partners of Litecoin is. It's Grayscale. They opened up a Litecoin trust just this fall. And as we know as Caspians, Litecoin is going out of business. Caspa is going to completely destroy them with the block DAG proof of work. But there are people in CEO decisions making multi-million, even billion-dollar calls who have no idea what they're doing. Just look at the Bud Light marketing team, for goodness sakes. So right now, Grayscale is definitely going to be interested in getting rid of some of their Litecoin, specifically during this bull market. And what does this say for Caspa? Looking forward, is there a chance that Caspa can be involved in a trust and an ETF? Seeing how Litecoin is, my answer is yes. Jumping over to the technical analysis, Bitcoin is bouncing off these two origin trend lines. These are trend lines that repeat across the Bitcoin chart. If you guys haven't seen the video on how we set these up, I'll leave a link for it in the comments below. Very interesting, almost Twilight Zone concept for technical analysis that absolutely no one on the internet is covering because it doesn't happen in stocks. And almost all of technical analysis is, of course, coming over from stocks. So jumping over to the Caspa chart, we called out that it's gonna hold 10. And what we see kind of happening here is it's forming this Adam and Eve, which is a very specific double bottom pattern. And it's kind of just repeating it. It did an Adam and Eve here. We got almost a breakout, and now it seems like it's doing just another Adam and Eve again. We can see the same exact thing on the Rune chart. Now, we originally had called out Rune at $1.80 for 3x leverage. Right now, everybody's starting to talk about Rune. It's starting to catch on. It's a great way to get exposure to Bitcoin with a bit more volatility to the action. Definitely take it easy on your leverage, though, because of this volatility. And we can see that in the Rune chart. My point being, we had this beautiful cup and handle pattern. And what happened was instead of breaking out after the handle, it formed another cup, almost like a double handle or a double cup scenario. And a lot of times when you get these patterns, it's not an exact science. What the pattern is showing is the psychology of the market. So with the Adam and Eve, it's like everybody's kind of panic, sell off, and then boom, the buyers step in, start picking up the slack again, and then there's kind of more healthy profit taking, but they're still showing the consistent level of buyers at that level, which is a sign of strength, which is really underlining how both this 10-cent resistance, which is a huge psychological level, 10 cents, is holding strong, as well as we have this original setup with our Fibonacci pitch. Look at how beautifully this fits in with the April peak matching all the way on this blue trend line right now. We had set this up like 120 days ago, and it's so accurate, so spot on that the top of the breakout reached the top of this entire Fibonacci pitch. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to challenge ourselves. We're going to say, never think that you know everything. Always shift the charts around. Start looking at things from a new perspective. We're going to go ahead and remove that just amazing dead-on bullseye Fibonacci pitch, and we're going to bring another one in. Now, we had this on the November 3rd video when we made the 10x leverage trade on Caspa. We were able to use so much leverage right there because of this support line. We were so close to this origin trend support line that whole amazing Fibonacci pitch is based off of, we knew that line was so strong. And we're going to take a look at these other trend lines. Now, the thing about Fibonacci pitches, especially at an angle, everybody always uses this horizontally. This is how humans want to analyze the chart. But in actual fact, as when we get into the Patreon, we'll explain more, the algorithms and logarithms that are helping move the candles around, these are all going to be angularly based. And we can specifically see this with the whole origin trend line concept in crypto. Now, we're working with the origin trend lines from this breakout of the base of the cup, and we can see how this rockets right up. We actually popped above it during the peaks, but then once we lost support of this line, we started to ultimately see the downside, and the candle is still playing into this Fibonacci pitch at this level. It just gives us another way to analyze the chart, to look at things. Imagine yourself a construction worker, and your angled Fibonacci pitch is just your measuring tape. There's really no wrong way you can use measuring tape. You should be measuring everything. You can zoom in and do it on the 15-minute. You can do it from all kinds of different trend lines to get different measurements and help you get a different opinion on the chart. February 3rd. Anywhere between the end of January and February 3rd. Even when we look at our previous Fibonacci pitch, the ones that's been giving us such beautiful reads, it's still looking like we're going to push out of this flag formation with the white dotted line again on February 3rd. Now, this is a big date, and I believe that we're going to actually push to the upside and not to the downside, based on our indicator that we're going to add to the charts. That's right, we're going to go one level deeper, and this can give us so much insight. Let's play that render clip one more time, and we're going to look at the render chart. Our original upload on render was on the 30th of May. We said it's not going to break out. In fact, it's a short right now. Looking at the render chart back then, you can see how the fuel tank, our Jenkins oscillator, had dipped so low. This is an indicator that once the stochastics, which is like your RSI, starts coming back to the top, it's not going to create a higher high. It's going to create a lower high. For those of you who are just catching on to this concept, the stochastics is a bit of an RSI. When it goes up, the candle's up. When it's down, the candle's down. And your Jenkins oscillator is like a fuel tank for that. The thing is, on the one-day chart, our fuel tank is fine. It's above the baseline. This is showing us that we're not going to form a lower high. Now, we might get a little bit of waning pressure. It might go down to like 95 cents for maybe 24 hours, but 10 cents is indefinitely looking strong. I've got to get back to work building this Patreon. This is going to be the game changer. I've joined all the other groups just to see what they're offering. This is the value people want. I'm even part of Gareth Dalloway's $1,000 technical analysis club. This is where all the value is going to be. We're going to put you guys on a stochastic program so you can learn the depth of crypto. It's like with anything, like understanding how the fiat dollar works. Remember, you used to like ask your dad, so what are they doing? Loaning money against oil? And it just takes time. And because even the Fed doesn't really know how that works. It's such a loosely put together system. We have structured format, checklist, structured learning, and video to go along that can help you delve into your fundamental research of any coins, how to find these new layer ones, like when we called out TIA at $5, recently bounced off 20, and Zetrix, we called out at $5, it's at 11. It's the only thing that hasn't seen any downside because it's partnered with the Chinese government. And of course, we've got loads of technical analysis that nobody's covered because nobody understands origin trend lines. And we're just combining this with all the basics, how to use it with your indicators, how to use it with your pattern stats. So I've got to get back to work on that. We'll catch you guys on the next one.